Hello, everyone. Welcome to EDY 323 Introduction to Education Psychology. And we are at year 3 students at University of Goroga, the School of Applied Science. We were given a topic why old men marry to a why old men marry young women in Papua New Guinea context. We were asked to discuss about that topic, and my friend and I were gonna discuss about that topic. And first of all, my name is John, and given name is John, and my surname is Peter. And my friend is Andrian. His given name is Andrian, and surname is John. We both of us we're gonna talk about this topic on why all men marry young women in Papua New Guinea. And in that note, we're gonna discuss about five main points. The five main points that we are going to discuss, the factors that affect why all men marry a young woman in Papua New Guinea is through the cultural norms. Through the cultures, the why that's the one main reasons why the old men marry to a young woman in Papua New Guinea. And the second point that we're going to discuss is the economic considerations. Through the economic considerations, that we do have an economic problem in our countries. To economic purpose of economic, the ladies want to enjoy a good life, and then they go and marry to the uh, old men. That's the reason. The second reasons why. That's we're gonna discuss about it. The second, the third part of this, it is that we're gonna discuss about the social status, the social status, the why, the status of that person, the how wealthy or the how rich that person is all about. Due to that reasons, the one that's a fourth the reasons why the old men's married to a young women's in Papua New Guinea. And the second, the last one is gender roles. We do have a gender roles. Due to the gender roles, that's the reasons why the ladies got married to a old men's. And the fifth and the last of it is the challenge and the impact of it, why the old men married to a young woman, and its effect of it, and how it affect those ladies in their lives. That one we're gonna discuss about it and then do a conclusion about it. And first part, I will going to discuss about it is all about the traditional culture, tradition, and bride price in Papua New Guinea. The culture, tradition, and bride price in Papua New Guinea, the points that I'm going to discuss is one major factor that influencing such marriage in a traditional practice of bride price. In many PNG societies, marriage involves the payment of a bride price, usually in the form of money, pigs, or other valuable items. In the past, money was not used, but they used a kinasel and all those things, and pigs and all other items. But currently, now today, money was the main things that control the life of the people in today's life. That's why money is the main factors that influence the life of those people to marry a young women, marry a old men in our countries. Very nice. To the families of the bride price, older men are more likely to have the resource and wealth required to meet these demands because those older men, they might have educated, or they may be maybe a businessman, or some may be in a who lives in a town and cities, and they do have a good life. And due to those reasons, the young women usually agree to go and marry to that old man. That's the reasons why. That's the reason why they are doing that. They are, yeah, young women they marry to a old man due to those factors, because the young women they want to go and enjoy or benefit from their cargoes or by their own education backgrounds, all these things. And younger men may struggle to afford this bread price because on the other side, younger men cannot afford all those things. The younger men will not going to provide wealth, or not wealth, but in terms of monies and goods and services that the women's needs. That's the reason why the old men's young ladies are married to old men, while older men who are financially established can more establish secure as a wife. This creates a situation where are gaining social and economic benefits for their families. This creates a young women are often married off to a older men as a way of strengthening family ties and gaining social and economic benefits for their families. Because they, those ladies want their families to benefit from those areas. So that's why they got married to a old man. And the second point that I'm gonna discuss is all about the economic stability in a economic stability and securities for themselves. Because of the economic stabilities, as we all know, Papua New Guinea is countries that we do have an economic problem in our countries. Most of the people in our countries, we are uneducated, we're living, and economic is the one problem that we do have currently we are facing in Papua New Guinea. Only the handful of the people who have educated themselves and they're earning the money. Because today's life is all about money. In the past, yes, money is not valuable, but today's all life is depending on even both in towns and remote part of the areas. The life is depending on the money. That's the main factors, and that's why the old men's, the young women's married to an old man because of the economic factors or stabilities of the securities for their families and for themselves. In rural and urban areas alike, in both areas, in rural and urban, many families view marriage as a way to ensure the economic security of their daughters. Only men are usually seen as more capable of providing food, shelter, school fees, and other necessities because all men they do have those wealth, monies, all those things. So for the school fees, shelters, and all these things, they do have a capable to provide all those things. And therefore, and the other side, that young men cannot do that because they are still they are not having all those things, those properties, or even the money or those things. So that's why they're mostly likely to the young women like to marry to the old men. For young women, marrying an old man can often stable stability and protection in societies where economic opportunities for women may be limited. Because sometimes in most part of the areas, in a most part of the areas in the example in Taris and where the Taris and Wabex where there is an oil and gases are there. Most of the old men are marrying a young women because they do have monies. They are learners because they are in the money. So most of the young women they do like to go and marry to those young or old men in that part of areas. Not only that part of area, but even in other part of the Papua New Guinea as well, because ladies want to ladies want to enjoy themselves to in a form of a school fee or shelter, food, good, other things that they need in their lives. And for young women, married and old men can topic that we have chosen as how why do older men marry young girl in Papua New Guinea. I will only explain 4 points, 3 points. Social status and the power dynamics, traditional expectation and the gender norms, challenges that affect the young life of a girl. Social status and the power dynamics marriage to an older man can elevate a young woman's social standing within a community. Older men often hold a higher position of authority and respect, and their wives share in this status. This dynamic also reinforces traditional gender roles, where men are viewed as providers and decision makers.
Why? While women are expected to take on nurturing and domestic resources. Another point is traditional expectation and gender norms. Cultural beliefs about gender also play a significant role. In many PNG communities, girls are expected to marry once they reach adolescent stage, and a delay marriage may be frowned upon. Older men may prefer younger views because they are considered more obedient, fertile, and easier to train into the expectation of a wife. This reflects a broader practical system where men have authority over women and make most family decisions. Another point is challenges that affect the education life of a young girl in Papua New Guinea. While these merits are expected in many communities, there are also increasing being costed. Women's rights groups and education programs are encouraging girls to stay in school longer and delay marriage. This is growing awareness about the potential negative impact of early marriage, including health risk, domestic violence, and limited opportunities for education and the personal growth of a young girl. The conclusion part of it is older men marrying younger women in PNG is a practice rooted in cultural tradition, economic necessity, and social norms. It serves as a way to maintain family ties, economic necessity, and social norms, secure financial stability, and uphold traditional gender roles. However, with gradually being challenged, understanding the reason behind such marriages is crucial for creating solutions that respect culture while promoting the well-being and rights of a young woman. Thank you. We finish our conference presentation.